I walked into that ambush thinking it was just dinner. Mom had made her signature pot roast, the one she only pulled out when someone was graduating or getting dumped. Dad was pacing by the fireplace. My sister Claire was fiddling with her sleeve, and Uncle Doug already had a beer cracked open. Ethan wasn't there. Of course not. The golden boy never shows up until the spotlight's on. Dad didn't waste time. Ethan's in trouble. We need you to sell the shop. Just like that. 8 years of my blood, sweat, and bad knees reduced to just the shop. I laughed. It came out sharp, more bark than humor. No, Mom clutched her dish towel like it was a rosary. Jack, honey, he's drowning in debt. He needs a fresh start. From my fresh start? I asked. What? So I just torch my life because Ethan can't run a business? You're stable, Dad cut in. Ethan's got real potential. He just needs this boost. There it was. That word. Potential. The same crap they'd been feeding me since we were kids. Ethan got straight A's. Ethan got into college. Ethan was always on his way. Meanwhile, I was the one fixing Mom's busted sink at midnight, hauling Claire's broken-down Honda in the snow, and pulling Uncle Doug out of bar fights he started over bad karaoke. But sure, I'm steady. Like a wrench or a fire extinguisher, useful but only when needed. I'm not selling, I said. The shop's mine. I built it. Claire shifted in her seat. You're not married to it, Jack. You could always start, fresh somewhere else. I stared at her. This was the same girl who once cried on my couch for 2 weeks after her breakup and lived rent-free for 3 months. Her eyes didn't even flinch. Then Uncle Doug grunted, "Family sticks together." Right. When it's convenient, I walked out. My hands were shaking, but I slammed that door hard enough to rattle the hallway photos. I thought that was it. I was so wrong. 3 days later, I got a text from Claire. Family meeting, 7 p.m. Be there. No, please, no explanation. Just an order. Should have ignored it. But stupid me thought maybe they'd come to their senses. Same living room, same chairs, same pitying glances. Dad stood up. We talked it over. Since you won't help Ethan, we're voting. You're either with us or you're not family anymore. I blinked. You're serious? Mom nodded. It's the fairest way. Dad raised his hand. Mom followed. Then Doug. Claire paused, just long enough to fake a conscience, then raised hers too, 4-1. You're out, Dad said, like I was a bad hire at a board meeting. I didn't yell, didn't cry. I reached into my jacket, pulled out a manila envelope and tossed it on the coffee table. Inside, a notarized copy of my shop's lease, my name only, and a letter severing all financial ties to the family. No loans, no favors, no "Hey Jack, can I crash at your place" calls. Fine, I said. Let's vote on this. I vote to keep. What's mine? Dad's face turned red. Mom gasped. Uncle Doug cursed. Then, right on cue, Ethan strutted in like he was walking into a birthday party. What did I miss? I smiled. Cold. Steady. You missed your golden parachute, I said. You're not getting my shop. You're not getting anything. His smile dropped. Come on, Jack, don't be dramatic. This is me not being dramatic. This is me finally drawing the line. Dad slammed a fist on the mantel. You're selfish. No, I said. I'm done. I walked out. Again. But this time, I wasn't just storming off. I was cutting the cord. I thought they couldn't shock me anymore, but what they pulled next, that was just the beginning. The next morning, my phone was blowing up, and not from customers. 3 canceled orders before noon. One guy left a voicemail saying, "Heard you're shutting down, Jack. Wish you the best." Shutting down? I stepped outside, looked at my shop sign like maybe someone had spray-painted closed across it. Nope. Still said Jack's Hardware, same faded paint, same busted porch step. I called Tom, my main supplier, guy I'd been working with for 5 years. Jack, he said, voice tight. Are you closing shop? What? No, who's saying that? He sighed. Heard it at the poorhouse last night. Ethan was there. Told folks you were selling, moving out west. Said it's already in motion. I nearly crushed my phone in my hand. That smug bastard. He didn't just take a swing at me, he went straight for the jugular. My business. My name, my livelihood. I checked the store ledger, 3 more canceled orders. My heart sank with each red line. Word was spreading fast, and it was poison. I didn't sleep that night. Just lay in bed, fists clenched, thoughts racing. I wanted to drive over to Ethan's and slam his face into the smug grin he wore like a badge. But I knew how he played this game. He'd twist it, make me look like the unstable one. The next day, I got a visitor, Claire. She stood outside the shop like a scared rabbit, arms wrapped around herself, eyes darting. I need to talk, she whispered. I didn't move, just opened the door and nodded. Inside, she paced, chewing on her thumbnail. "Ethan, he did something," she said. "Worse than I thought." I waited. "A month ago, he asked me for help, again. Said he needed some info from your shop. Said it was just to impress investors. I didn't think, God, Jack, I didn't know, but he forged your signature on a loan application. 20 grand, using the shop as collateral." My knees buckled. I grabbed the counter to steady myself. "He didn't send it yet," she rushed on. "I found the papers in his car. He must have been waiting. I'm sorry. I didn't know he'd—" My throat was dry, my skin burning. "He was going to steal my shop. Not beg. Not charm. Just forge and destroy." I didn't say a word. Just grabbed my keys and left. 15 minutes later, I was standing at Ethan's door, fists clenched around the crumpled loan app. He opened in a robe, coffee in hand, grinning. "Jack, hey, what's—" I shoved the papers into his chest. "This you?" I growled. He looked down, saw the signature, and smirked. "Relax, it was just a placeholder, to move things along. I was going to tell you. You forged my name. You tried to steal my shop." He sipped his coffee. "It's not a big deal. I didn't send it. Family helps each other, right?" I stepped in closer, eyes locked on his. "Family doesn't steal. Family doesn't destroy what someone else built because they're too damn lazy to fix their own mess." He rolled his eyes. "Jesus, Jack, you've got a martyr complex. You've got the shop. I've got nothing. You've got nerve," he said. "That's all you've got." I turned and left before I threw a punch. Back at the shop, I called the bank, froze my credit, alerted my lawyer, then spent the rest of the day on the phone with every supplier, contractor, and regular customer I had, explaining, begging, swearing I wasn't going anywhere. But the damage was done. Business was bleeding. Trust was bleeding. And Ethan? He was out there, probably hitting up the next sucker with a smile and a pitch deck. 2 days later, Claire texted again. "Meet me at Lincoln Park. 3 p.m. It's worse. Bring a folder." I almost ignored her, but something in my gut twisted. She was already sitting on the old swing set when I arrived, hands in her lap, face pale. "Jack, he's been stealing from Dad. For years." I blinked. "What?" She handed me a thick folder, bank statements, printouts, notes. "He's been skimming from Dad's retirement fund. Thousands. Blamed it on bad investments. I didn't want to believe it, but..." I flipped through the pages. Transfers, withdrawals, each one lining up with one of Ethan's failed schemes. "How much?" I asked. "Over 40 grand, she said. "Maybe more." I closed the folder. My hands were shaking. Again, but Claire wasn't done. "He's been bragging to his friends. I found texts. He said you were a pushover. That the shop was his soon. Called it easy money. He laughed about it, Jack, about you." She slid her phone across the bench. There it was, black and white. "Jack's soft. He'll cave. Shop's mine soon." My chest felt like it had been hit by a freight train. "I voted against you," Claire said. "I was wrong. I see it now." I nodded, but I didn't speak. I was past betrayal. Now I was planning revenge. The night after the park meeting, I didn't sleep. I just sat in my living room with that folder wide open on the table, every line screaming betrayal. Claire had gone home, said she'd handle it legally. But I wasn't interested in polite justice. I wanted them to feel it, all of them. My family sat me down, held a fake vote, cut me out of their lives like I was dead weight. And for what? To protect a parasite who'd been bleeding them dry for years and laughing about it behind their backs? I spent the next morning making copies, bank statements, text messages, Ethan's forged loan documents. Then I typed up a short letter, cold, clean, precise. It said I was done, that any future contact would be considered harassment, legalese but personal. That Sunday, Mom called. Again. "Dinner, sweetheart, just us, let's talk." I went. Not because I wanted to heal, not because I missed her mashed potatoes. I went because it was time for them to see. They were all there when I arrived. Claire, Uncle Doug, even Dad, sitting stiff like he'd been forced into the chair. Ethan was late, as usual. His timing was always perfect, just enough to walk into the scene when the attention peaked. Dinner started quiet. Too quiet. Everyone stabbing at their food like it was going to bite back. I waited until the second helping hit the table. Then I stood. "I've got something to share." I dropped Claire's folder dead center, pages fanned out like a crime. Scene file bank statements, wire transfers, texts. Mom blinked. "What's this?" "Proof," I said. "Ethan's been draining Dad's retirement fund for years. The shop? Just the next con." Claire backed me up fast. "It's true. I checked it myself." Uncle Doug leaned in. That true, Paul? Dad picked up a page. His hands trembled as he scanned the numbers. His face went pale, then red, then gray. What the hell is this? He whispered. Then the front door opened. Ethan strolled in, all swagger and smirk. Smells good in here, he said, tossing his keys in the bowl like he lived there. When he saw the folder, his grin slipped. Jack says you took from us, Mom said, her voice breaking. Ethan scoffed. He's twisting everything, you know. How Jack gets. Claire didn't flinch. Don't lie, I saw the messages, you bragged about it. The room cracked wide open. Dad stood, his chair scraping the floor. Is it true, Ethan? Ethan's jaw tensed. His eyes flicked to Dad, then back to me. His face shifted, calculating, not apologetic. Then he shrugged. Fine, he snapped. You want the truth? Yeah, I dipped into it. But I had my reasons. You stole from us, Dad growled. You owe me, Ethan shouted. Or did you forget who covered your ass when the cops came sniffing around about those bets? Silence. You could have heard a fly sneeze. What? Mom whispered. Ethan pointed at Dad. Tell them. You were in deep with some bookies 10 years. Ego, I paid it off, took the heat, you owe me. Dad didn't deny it, he just sat down, face hollow, like someone had punched the air out of him. That's when it all snapped into place. Ethan wasn't the favorite because he was talented. He was the favorite because he had leverage. He'd been blackmailing his own father for a decade. You chose him over me, I said, voice steady. Because you were scared. Mom's eyes, filled with tears. Claire just stared down at her plate. Uncle Doug looked like he wanted to melt into the floor. I came here to say one thing, I continued. I pulled out my final envelope, one I'd had notarized the day after their vote. A cease and desist, legal, cold, irrevocable. I dropped it beside the chicken. I'm done. No contact, no favors. No more Jack, can you help? Ethan laughed. You think that'll stick? I know it will, I said. You don't own me anymore. Ethan lunged across the table, grabbed my shirt. You think you're better than us? I shoved him back. No, I'm just done being your damn safety net. Claire stepped between us, eyes wide. Stop! I turned to her. You voted me out. This is just me respecting your decision. I walked toward the door. No one stopped me this time. Even Mom, sobbing into her napkin, didn't speak. Dad looked like he'd aged 10 years in 5 minutes. Ethan called after me. You'll regret this, I paused. No, Ethan, you will. I didn't go to work the next day. Didn't even get out of bed until noon. I just laid there, staring at the ceiling fan, spinning like it was trying to hypnotize me into forgetting everything. The dinner, the fight, the look on Dad's face when Ethan dropped that little bomb about the bookies, and that final moment, when I walked out and not a single one of them followed. No calls came, no texts. The silence was louder than a fistfight. When I finally dragged myself into the shop, the place felt off. Half the shelves were still stocked, but the energy was gone. The bell above the door rang once all day. Mrs. Carter from down the street. She bought a pack of nails, smiled awkwardly, then asked if the rumors were true. What rumors? I asked, already knowing. That you're shutting down. Selling. To some tech guy. Your brother? I forced a smile. Nope, still here. She frowned. Good, be a shame if this place went belly up. You're part of this town. But her voice said she wasn't sure anymore. After she left, I pulled the blinds down, locked the door, and sat behind the counter for hours, just staring at the cash register like it owed me an explanation. That evening, I got a text from Tom, my supplier. Need to talk. Urgent. I called immediately. Jack, I don't know how to say this, he said, but 3 of your vendors pulled out. They said they heard you were financially unstable. One of them mentioned a pending lawsuit over loan fraud. My stomach flipped. You think Ethan started this? Tom sighed. I don't know, man. But someone's spreading poison, and it's working. My hand shook. I slammed the phone down so hard it cracked. Ethan wasn't just playing dirty anymore. He was going nuclear. That night, I didn't sleep either. Instead, I drove. I circled the block around Ethan's apartment, like some ghost with a grudge. I wasn't sure what I'd do if I saw him. Yell, punch him, scream until the whole damn town woke up, but his lights were off. Coward probably skipped town again. Then around midnight, I got another text. From Claire. He's moving fast. You need to see this. Attached was a screenshot. An email forwarded to her by mistake, from a real estate agent. Subject line, potential acquisition of Jack's hardware. Ethan was trying to sell my shop. Without owning it. I nearly drove off the road. Showed up at Claire's place the next morning. She let me in without a word, just handed me more documents. More evidence. He'd used old shop photos. Forged my signature again. This time, on a letter of intent to sell. The buyer. Some sketchy-looking LLC out of Columbus. I called my lawyer. Within an hour, we filed for fraud. I sent copies to the police, to the bank, to the damn real estate office. The agent was stunned, said she'd been working off verified documents. Not anymore, I told her. And if you even breathe near that property again, I'll own your license. I was done. Playing nice, Ethan wanted war? Fine, I'd sharpen every tool in the damn shop, but just as I was starting to dig out, Claire called again. Jack, she said, her voice shaking. Dad's in the hospital. I froze. What happened? Chest pain. They're running tests. It's bad. And just like that, the anger collapsed into something messier. Regret. Confusion. Guilt. I drove to the hospital on autopilot. I didn't even remember parking. Just woke up standing in front of his room, staring through the glass. He looked small. Shriveled, like someone had let the air out of the man I once feared. Mom sat by the bed, eyes red, makeup smeared. She saw me, stood slowly. He keeps asking for you. I didn't move. He's sorry, she added, like that made up for everything. After a minute, I walked in. Dad opened his eyes, just barely. Jack. His voice was thin, hollow. I messed up, he whispered. Yeah, no kidding. I let him get in my head. I let you down. He gripped my hand, weak but desperate. I see it now, what he did, who he is, I nodded. Just once. I can't fix it, he said. No, you can't. But maybe you can stop him. I swallowed hard. Then he looked up at me and said something I'll never forget. Burn it all, son. Just make sure he goes down with it. Burn it all, he said, and I planned to. The minute I left the hospital, I went straight to the shop. Not to open up, but to gear up. I pulled every document, every receipt, every email Ethan ever touched. The forged loan apps, the real estate fraud, Claire's screenshots, bank statements, text chains. I built a folder so thick it could flatten a politician's career. Then I called a guy I hadn't spoken to in years, Derek Foster, now a reporter for the Ohio Tribune. We'd played baseball together in high school. He was the kind of guy who always smelled a scandal a mile off, and this was a 5-alarm fire with gasoline already pouring down the stairs. You sure you want to go scorched earth? Derek asked when I laid it out for him. He tried to sell my life like it was a garage sale, I said. He's not stopping until someone stops him. Derek didn't need more. 2 days later, an article hit the front page of the paper and exploded online. Golden son or con man. Local tech bro faces allegations of forgery, fraud, and family theft. The subheading? Retirement funds drained. Business nearly stolen. Brother fights back. There was a picture of Ethan from one of his pitch events, grinning like a used car salesman caught mid-lie. Within hours, my phone lit up like it was on fire. Local radio stations wanted interviews. The cops called to follow up on submitted evidence. A producer from a true crime YouTube channel reached out asking if I'd go on camera. And Ethan, he blew up my phone. Text after text. What the hell did you do? You're ruining my life. You think this makes you the hero? Pick up the phone. I didn't. I was too busy watching his world cave in. Claire told me he tried showing up at Dad's hospital room. Security turned him away. Word had gotten around. Nurses were whispering. Even Mom, after everything, told him to leave. He just stood there outside the room, she told me on the phone, like a kid who got caught cheating on a test. I wanted to feel something, relief, satisfaction, even pity, but all I felt was hollow. That night I sat in my shop again, lights off, fan creaking overhead. The silence wasn't peaceful, it was heavy. Like grief, only messier. I was winning, but it didn't feel like it. Then Claire showed up. She didn't say anything at first. Just placed a thumb drive on the counter. What's this? I asked. Insurance, she said. Just in case. She explained that weeks ago, when she started digging into Ethan's mess, she'd installed a keystroke logger on his laptop. Part of her dumb attempt to protect him, until she realized what he was really doing. The drive had screenshots, audio clips, a full copy of an email chain where Ethan laid out a plan to liquidate Dad's remaining assets behind his back. Said he could justify it later with a forged signature and some conservative investment crap. God, I whispered. He was going to clean out everything. She nodded. That's not even the worst of it. She clicked open a file. Audio. I hit play. Ethan's voice recorded from his laptop mic. They're all idiots. Jack built something decent, sure, but he's too soft. Always has been. He won't push back, not really. Claire? Please. She folds like cheap poker chips. Dad? Still sweating over some old gambling crap I buried for him. I'm the one with the brains. If I have to torch them to get what I want, so be it. I sat back, silent. Then I said, "This ends now." Next morning, I walked into the sheriff's office, file in hand, audio ready, timeline printed. They listened. They took it seriously. 2 hours later, an official investigation was into us: fraud, forgery, attempted theft, elder financial abuse, wire fraud. Ethan didn't see it coming. That evening, while he was grabbing drinks at a rooftop bar, still pretending his life wasn't melting, 2 detectives showed up and took him in. No cuffs. Not yet. But word spread fast. By morning, half the town knew. Ethan's startup dreams were toast. His network evaporated. Investors who once drooled over his pitches now ghosted him. And my shop? Orders started trickling back in. Regulars returned slowly, cautiously, but it was a start. Tom called me the next day. "Heard the news. Hell of a thing, Jack." "Yeah. You good?" I paused, then said, "Getting there." Because I was. I'd taken every hit they threw, every guilt trip, every lie, and I was still standing, a little bruised, a little lonelier. But standing. Ethan. He was looking at felony charges, and I wasn't done yet. 2 weeks after Ethan's arrest, the charges were stacked like bricks. Fraud, forgery, attempted grand larceny, elder financial abuse. The DA called it one of the most arrogant familial betrayals we've seen in years. His arraignment made the evening news, but Ethan, still smiling in court like he was untouchable. His lawyer argued he was misunderstood, that the documents were miscommunications, that the retirement fund transfers were authorized verbally. They even tried dragging me in, saying the feud was just a sibling spat gone public. I sat in the back of the courtroom during that hearing, arms crossed, expression blank. He looked at me once, that same Ethan grin, like we were still playing some inside joke only he understood. I didn't grin back, Claire testified. Calm, precise, voice shaky at first but strong by the end. When she read Ethan's email out loud, the one calling Dad a walking ATM with a guilty conscience, the courtroom sucked in breath like a single, collective gasp. Mom didn't show. She couldn't handle the idea of watching her gifted son crash and burn under oath. But Dad did. He walked in slow, pale, thinner than I'd ever seen him. But when he took the stand and confirmed that Ethan never had access to his accounts, that he'd forged it all, he ended with 6 brutal words. "My son stole my legacy." Twice. The judge didn't flinch. Ethan did. His trial was set for early fall. But he never made it to the courtroom because he ran, skipped bail, took off like the coward he was, probably thinking he could smooth talk his way across state lines and land on his feet like always. But this wasn't high school. This wasn't oops, forgot to return your hoodie. This was criminal. And for once in his life, someone finally slammed the door behind him. A warrant was issued, his accounts frozen. His car was found dumped in a motel lot in Kentucky. His phone pinged in St. Louis, then nothing. Gone. And just like that, Ethan, the con artist, the golden boy, the blackmailer, vanished. I'd be lying if I said it didn't mess with me. You think you want revenge. You think it's going to feel like fireworks when the villain falls. But what I got was silence. Still, life didn't stop. Orders picked back up. My vendors started trusting me again. The community slowly came back around. Even Pete from the diner swung by one morning and said, "Heard the punk skip town, told you weren't the bad guy." Thanks, Pete. Claire and I talk more now. She's rebuilding too, suing Ethan civilly, even though no one knows if he'll ever be found. She's seeing a therapist. Says she still wakes up sometimes thinking she raised her hand in that vote. I tell her we both did stupid things for Ethan. But she's trying now. That counts. Mom still calls, still leaves voicemails. I don't delete them, but I don't answer either. Then, just when I thought the story was over, it happened. I got a letter. Plain white envelope. No return address. Postmark, Nevada. Inside was a single sheet of paper. Typed, no greeting, no sign-off, you win. I was never coming for the shop, but I was never going to let you forget it either. Check the back room. Last drawer. Under the floorboard. No signature. But I knew the voice. I could hear the smirk. My chest tightened. I walked into the shop, locked the door, and went straight to the back. The drawer in question was stuck. I had to wedge it open with a crowbar. And underneath the floorboard, a box inside were 5 bundles of cash, each wrapped with a paper band. $10,000 per bundle. 50 grand. There was also a flash drive. I plugged it into my laptop and found a video. Ethan, sitting on a motel bed, hoodie on, dark circles, under his eyes. "Hey, Jack," he said, voice quiet. If you're watching this, I'm probably in Mexico or prison or worse. Doesn't really matter. But I owe you one truth. He took a long breath. That loan, the one I forged, I never submitted it, you know that. But here's the twist, I never planned to. He leaned forward. You were always gonna say no. You were always gonna be the guy who didn't cave. That's why I pushed. 'Cause if I could get you to break, I wouldn't feel so small. A sad laugh. You beat me, Jack. You were the real one. The whole time. He tapped the camera. And that money? It's Dad's. What's left of it? Cleaned out before the feds could freeze it. Should have been yours all along. Use it, burn it, I don't care. Just don't forget. If I ever show up again, don't open the door. The screen went black. I stared at the drive for a long time, then unplugged it and crushed it with a wrench. The money? I donated most of it anonymously to the local retirement home. Figured it was fitting, a place for people who actually earned their rest. The shop? Still open. Still mine. And now, finally quiet. No votes, no lies. No more Ethan. Just the hum of old lights and the smell of fresh sawdust. It's funny. He thought the twist was the money. But the real twist? I didn't need it. Already won. That's the end of today's story. Did things turn out the way you thought? Or were there some surprises along the way? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you haven't joined the community yet, now's the perfect time. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you're always the first to catch new stories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next adventure.